Hello, we are Sornia. It is an honor and a privilege to have this interaction with all of you, to step forward and share with you what we can, where you're going, give you some information along those lines, hopefully. Hopefully this is finding you all doing well. We seem to think so. There's a brightness to all of your energy fields of late. You've had some interesting events happening in your world, and you will continue to have these events. What's the most fascinating aspect of this is to watch how those of you who have an understanding, who receive these messages, are looking at the events with some detachment, with great detachment. The biggest accomplishment that you have all made from your own ability to go within is to detach yourself emotionally from situations. Does that mean that you do not feel something? No, you still feel things. You still have the experience of the emotion. You are experiencing the emotion differently. You are experiencing it from a consciousness that is more evolved. So we see this through your energy systems, through the light, the radiance that you emit. And ever since the last, we'd say your last 2 sessions with us, we've seen many of you open up and shine that radiance out with greater confidence. That's the best way for us to put it. Sounds a little corny, a little silly, but that's how we interpret it. So you run into rough times or something difficult occurs for you, you allow yourself the experience of it. You fully aware that it's an experience rather than letting yourselves be sucked in, if you will, to the event or whatever is happening emotionally and not being able to release the emotion. So what's happening when you have, from this perspective, let's talk about it. So previously, before you got to this place of where you're at to have this detachment, and you all have it, even though you're still experiencing things. Before that, your lives were being dictated by external circumstances primarily. And as you've grown in your awareness, as you've become more conscious of who you are, and you've become more aware of what is happening to you because of your environment, you have been able to experience life's events, whether they be pleasant or unpleasant, but with a certain amount of detachment, almost as if you are watching a movie or a television program or some theatrical production. And this process is so important to everything because in that case, what you're doing, whether you're aware of it or not, is the energy of the event that you are experiencing, whether it be something pleasant or unpleasant, is being translated by you into the frequency that is information for us. So what am I saying here? And what's important for you to know? That your ability to have the earthly experiences with that detachment, with more clarity and more detachment, has given us the opportunity to have greater understanding of what we can do to help you and humanity as a whole. Because we have more detail now. And the information, let's say, that we are receiving from you isn't shrouded in emotion that is a distraction, that isn't of value to us, that belongs to Earth, okay? Now, we don't want to say everything that belongs on Earth, that is part of Earth, is bad. Anything but. Earth is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place for experience. It's a wonderful place for having all of the sensory experiences that you're having. So Earth has so much value, but Earth is temporary. Your experience on Earth is temporary. And when in the past you've had your experiences on Earth, they became permanent in a sense because you held onto the events or the emotions associated with the events and keep creating the thoughts that are associated with that. So you would create your patterns, right? And what's happening now is your detachment is allowing you to have the experiences still full on experience. You still feel sadness or you still feel joy. You still feel the excitement of different experiences, but they're not defining who you are. You're looking at them truly as an experience. So what does this mean? Well, this gives you that clearer vision, and your communications with us become clearer, that we are able to assist you in the next steps as you move forward. So much is happening all the time, and more of you are understanding the value of placing your focus on the self and self-love and self-appreciation, all things directed towards the self, taking care of and nurturing the self so that that self that you are, that essence that you are, is as full and complete as possible. And that's what you are radiating out. That's why we're saying we see you with your radiance is so, it's so different. It's so much brighter. It takes on different tones and that you haven't taken on or have been able to express before. So there's major change going on here. So that's just kind of a little bit of an insight, again, to give you some information as to where you are really going and what's happening for you. Most importantly, though, is that we always like to kind of prepare you for what's coming up or what you're choosing to experience, what you're choosing to create and choosing to experience. This coming time that you are in is going to give you a lot of opportunities to choose either compassion or not. And your ability to know yourself as an eternal being and that essence that you are will give you greater command over whether or not you will choose the loving route or the less loving route. Be aware of this because it is going to be, as we are foreseeing it right now, there will be some difficult events, not directly affecting you so much as affecting the world that you live in. People probably close to you, but more outside of you. You'll be more the observers. And this is important. We need that you observe what is going on with that detachment that we've been talking about. That's part of what is necessary at this time for all of us working together. See, you being in human form have certain knowledge that we do not have because we are not in human form. But we have knowledge that you are not consciously aware of because of being in human form. And that's why we work together as teams, as groups, all of us together for the greater good. And coming soon, we believe there will be some events that will really cause the complacent individuals to begin to awaken, or those people who have not taken a side, basically, or not so much taken a side, made a decision. There'll be power struggles. There already are. They're underneath the surface, but they're going to come up through the surface, and you will be seeing them. So it's important to remember your teachings and what you do know, that what you observe, you are participating in. So if you are observing something that is going on in your world and you are observing it from a place of fear or anger or frustration, you are contributing more to that. If you observe it with compassion and loving kindness, that's good because you're sending that energy there. But more importantly, it's not right or wrong either way. What's most important is that you observe it with detachment, like you have been doing in your lives, because these major events that are going to be, they're inevitable at this point. Some of them you've already felt are coming. You want to be able to observe them with detachment because we don't know what the outcome of these events could possibly be. If you are engaged deeply with them one way or another, you are influencing the outcome. Now, some of you would say, well, why not look at it with compassion? Say a difficult situation, and you look at it with compassion, wouldn't that be the perfect way to go? Because then you're bringing that love and that compassion and acceptance there. And we're saying, yes, but what we're telling you that what's more important now is that you don't influence the events one way or the other, but that you're just the observers. That's why we have suggested to you about recently, kind of getting yourselves, reducing the amount of sensory input you have. We want you to really be in that place of as clear of a channel, if you will, to what is happening so that you can transmit that information through your own physical and non-physical forms to us here in spirit, and then we all work together to reach what is the best solution to any situation. Okay? Hopefully this makes sense. It's a little bit different way of looking at things. All of you are such caring individuals that your automatic response is to look at something with, well, let me be compassionate, let me be loving. And we're asking you to not turn that off, but to step back and just be the observers. We need all of you to be as neutral, I guess that would be the best way of saying it, as neutral as possible, so that this information can be understood with all of its nuances that are in there. There's a lot that is going on globally. Now, we're talking about events here. We're not talking about your own development and what you've been doing. Well, a little bit about your development, but we're focusing right now on sharing things that we believe are going to be more of a global nature, that you will be dealing with things externally, not so much in your own internal journey of working, right? We've been telling you and sharing with you, and you've been taking to heart and working with all of the other methods and practices to develop your own self, to understand you in human form. And that's still going on. What we're talking about today is that human self that you have evolved to. The evolved being that you are in human form is going to have experiences and observe events and experiences from that perspective, not from where you were even 1 month ago. So it's important because of the way that information is transmitted through you as unbiased as possible. Why is that? Because we, all of us, you included, but we need to understand how the forces that are wanting to keep humanity entrapped and blind and ignorant to their own power, to their own truth, right? How they really manipulate and control. So much has already come out. So many of you already see it and you're aware of it, but it goes even deeper. What has prevented so many of you with all of this understanding that you have, yet so many of you are still dealing with those issues of the physical nature of lack? You're still dealing with physical ailments that you don't understand fully what they are. As we said, lack, you have things that, there's this idea that, there isn't enough, and wanting to understand really how all of that is at the level that you are at is really important. Hopefully, we're not being too abstract here in our teaching. We might be, because it's difficult to put this into words, what we're asking you to understand. So as you listen to our words, remember what we have shared with you in the past. Don't listen just to the words. Feel the frequency and vibration, because that is where more information is for you. So close your eyes and listen, but ask to be shown, what is it that I am hearing that I'm not consciously aware of? What is it that is coming to me, not just from us in these sessions? This is a good place to do this because it's safe and it's a comfortable enough place. But you want to do this with everything. You want to be able to start to sense and hear and feel and know what is actually being transmitted to you through the forces of fields that are there, because this is how you are going to free yourself. This is how you are going to understand why there is even lack, why there is disease, why some situations, some people have more than others. There's a formula here, in a sense, that you are learning to, or remembering, because you already know it, that you are bringing forward. What is unknown in you, like your physical form, you have your conscious awareness, then you have your subconscious, you have your energy systems, and you have your energy fields, that is your aura, that make up your aura. All of that, the only thing that you feel at times is tangible is that physical form and the mind, right? Your brain, you feel like those are the things that are real. And because what you have to do in order to move to the next phase of your freedom, of moving towards your freedom, is understanding the influences of all of it and each step of the way. And you're ready for that. So as abstract as this may seem to you, we want you to be hyper attentive to what you are experiencing when you are interacting with others, when you are listening to something. You might be thinking, well, is there no downtime? Do I have to always be doing this? And we say, yes, at this point, yes. We're at a point, and I say we because we're all in this together. We are at a point where there's another potential for another major shift, a huge shift in awareness. And this will be provoked, I guess, and prompted by the actions and the behavior that those of you who know what you're doing, and we're talking to you, that you follow through on what information we give you and the way that you understand it. Each one of you is going to understand what we tell you in your own way. And you know that. We've talked about that already. That's important, understanding it from that way, because this next phase of your development, or freedom, you're on that road to freedom, and you're the pioneers, if you will, and leading others in that way, is right there. It's coming to you. That door is just about to be open, and it'll be like a wave, like a tsunami of energy, is the best way of saying it. And if you are feeling at all uncertain, you might get swept away in this. And we mean that not literally, but figuratively. You want to be able to stand firm as these waves of information. That's what we're going to call it, waves of information about what's truly happening to you and has been happening to you. More of that is coming out, and some of it is going to be kind of dark, and some of it will be difficult to understand if you are not grounded the way that you know that you can ground yourself. This isn't to put you in fear. Never fear. We've talked about that. There's nothing to fear here. This is vitally important because of what you are creating in your world at this time. Look how much you have freed yourselves already. How many of you look outside of yourself and see yourself so differently and experience yourself so differently? This is continual evolution here, and you're not doing anything wrong. Some of you are kind of hard on yourselves. Let's talk a little bit about that too. Some of you are kind of hard on yourselves in the sense that you feel like you're not doing enough to improve or to learn or to remember or to understand your true nature. But you're all doing the best that you can with what you have. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on below the surface that will be coming up again. So I guess our message to you today is not going to be lengthy. It's going to be quite short, for the fact that we want that you sit with this and ponder this and ask us some questions. But there isn't a lot at the moment that's different than what we've already shared with you. Continue to do what you can to understand the true meaning of your experience. We're not talking just about words. When you want to understand frequency and vibration of something, just sit again in nature or go somewhere that you find a difficult environment to be in. You're strong enough to do that. So go in some location where maybe in the past you wouldn't have gone in, maybe where there's drinking, excessive drinking or excessive behaviors that are detrimental to the physical body and also to the spiritual bodies. Maybe go into these environments with an open mind and see what you can understand by being in those environments. We're not saying you have to do this in order to understand where you're at right now and what we want you to understand, but it might help some of you. Some of you are not so much ready, but you can do this. It would be very insightful. In any case, take every opportunity you have to be fully mindful and aware of what you are doing, in particular in the coming weeks, because events are happening below the surface, so to speak, not so much in the dark, I guess, in the dark, that will be coming forward that will shake up a lot of people. And if these events are experienced as fear, then you're going to be set back. And so important that you all ground yourself in truth, in your own truth, and that detachment, so that you can process unbiased the information through your own energy system. There will be events that will seem like they happened that didn't really happen, okay? You're going to really see. We kind of smile at this because we see it happening. It's already going on. You're going to see what an illusion you are living in and have been for so very long. It's not just going to be an idea to you or words to you. We're living in illusion. This is the matrix. You are going to be experiencing the illusion in all of its entirety in the coming times. This is that next chapter. That's why detachment is important. You're going to see how this is all that what you've considered up until now to be reality. What is all of that being a fabrication and an illusion? Now, the word fabrication and illusion can be a little bit distracting, but because in a sense they are real for you because you are experiencing them, but you're going to understand why they feel real to you and how they really work. But the way that you do that is by detachment. So all of this will be revealed. There will be many that won't be able to do this. There'll be many that you'll share this with and they'll understand. There are some that just will refuse to see what we are talking about. And it'll be evident. you can't save everyone. Remember that. Not everyone will agree with you, and let those individuals go, because there might be some family members or people that are close to you that just cannot see it, cannot experience it. They're not meant to be experiencing it. So hopefully this wasn't too abstract and obscure for your understanding. As we said, if it feels that way, like what kind of a message is it you're thinking in your mind as we're talking? What was it that Sornia was really saying? Listen to this with your heart. Get all your energy centers and use that to listen, and not just with your ears and your mind. Use everything, and you'll get the frequency and vibration of the meaning, and then you will be able to understand it with greater depth, because that is how this illusion is created. You've been part of it. You've been part of creating all of this, and now you're going to start to learn how it works. You're going to understand how disease is created. You're going to understand why there is lack. You're going to understand why there's cruelty. You're going to understand all of this. You'll see how a human being that is genuinely a divine being can make choices that are not of a divine nature. You're going to see this, and you're going to be able to put your energy into changing and evolving this entire experience that you call the Earth experience. It's going to be a very, very interesting time for all of you. Already has been. A lot of you have had incredible experiences, and it's so much fun to see how you're not being, as you would use, freaked out by some of the events that have happened. And you smile and kind of chuckle and say, here's more evidence. Here's more evidence. So this is what we have for you today. As I said, hopefully this isn't too obscure and abstract, but just feel it. Feel the message rather than hear the message. And you'll get what we are really trying to share with you if you're struggling in understanding it. That is all for now. We love you very much. We are Sornia. Goodbye.